Greetings and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about Paula Abdul's 1991 release, Spellbound. Now this album came out 3 years after her debut, Forever Your Girl, which is one of the slowest albums in history to reach #1. But once it did, Paula Abdul kind of took over the music scene for a little bit of time. This was the peak of pop stars. This was Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, George Michael, Janet Jackson. This was kind of their peak for all of them. And Paula kind of came around at this time and took over the music industry, challenging all of their statuses. She had, like I said, 4 #1 hits from the album and sold multi-million copies of Forever Your Girl and the singles. She was all over MTV. And then controversies struck when she was hit with a lawsuit from Yvette Marin, a backup vocalist on Forever Your Girl, who claimed that she did the lead vocals for the songs. Now, this was at the same time that Milli Vanilli, Black Box, and C+C Music Factory had also faced controversy for hiring models to lip-sync songs in videos and on stage to pre-recorded vocals by other vocalists, especially Black Box, who did not even give an ounce of credit to Martha Wash for doing vocals for their biggest hits and putting a model on stage in place of her. Same thing with C+C Music Factory. They both used Martha Wash, and she got a record deal out of a out of court case settlement. So I am saying all this because Paula went on to, of course, go to court, and all the charges were dropped, allegations were dropped, and the lawsuit was tossed out because there was no merit to it. She had a lot to prove after that with this album, because not only were her vocals being challenged like in the public, but also the state of pop music. Things were changing in the early 90s to going from the 80s to a new decade, and grunge and hip hop were kind of becoming bigger. And you couldn't just do 80s pop music anymore. It was time to evolve. And with this album, I think Paula really set to prove not only her vocals, but her evolution as an artist. And I think that she did that pretty successfully. But I must say, first of all, there's 3 Paula Abdul albums, and this is my 3rd favorite. I love it. It's a great album, but she only has 3. And her second one, I would say, is Forever Your Girl. First one, I have to say, is Head Over Heels, her 1995 release, which completely flopped. It barely went gold compared to the multi-platinum albums of her, yesteryear. It spawned no top 10 singles. My Love Is For Real became a semi-hit, went #1 on the dance charts, but it itself kind of was a letdown. She had been gone for several years anyway, from 91 to 95, and that comeback didn't really happen. But I did grow up listening to it, and I loved it. I still love it to this day. There's a lot of stuff I listened to as a kid that I don't listen to today, but that album really stuck with me. Unfortunately, the vinyl record for Head Over Heels is $150 on Amazon Europe. It doesn't exist in America, and I've never seen it on eBay. It's extremely rare, but it does exist. So I thought I would do Spellbound instead, just because I don't have the vinyl for Head Over Heels, which hopefully one day I will. Donate to my Patreon if you'd like. Anyway, so Paula Abdul had always been known for her dance videos. She had choreographed many videos for Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, LaToya Jackson, George Michael, and multiple movies. So she was a dancer and choreographer, and her videos were dance heavy, but well made as well. It wasn't just people dancing. There was themes and fashion and angles and cinematography. So she was definitely part of the MTV era of using videos to capitalize and make yourself bigger. But arguably, I'd say her music is stronger than her videos, just because I think of all artists of that era who kind of jumped on the Janet Jackson bandwagon, which I would include Paula Abdul, her songs have a good, strong quality. She doesn't have a bad album. She doesn't have a lot of bad songs. I know she doesn't have very many songs, but nonetheless. So let's talk a little bit about the album. It was released in 1991. She worked with similar collaborators to the first record, but she also moved on to work with Victor St. Paul, who co-wrote a lot of the songs on the album. Paula herself got a little bit more involved in the songwriting process, co-writing some of the songs on the album, including the first single, Promise of a New Day, which became her 5th #1 single. Rush Rush was the next single, which also went to number one. She didn't co-write that one, but it became one of her staple songs, as did Promise of a New Day. And to this day, her fans adore those two songs. Later on, she'd released the song Vibeology, which went to number 16 and kind of showed that maybe the streak was ending a little faster than before. Vibeology is a crazy track, and we'll talk about that too. She had other singles such as Blowing Kisses in the Wind, which was basically, I think, her most beautiful song, and Will You Marry Me, which didn't do that well, and I can kind of see why. So anyway, we're going to get all into that. So first song is Promise of a New Day, which, like I said, was co-written by Paula Abdul, where her first album took a big chunk of inspiration from Control. I think this album took a big chunk of inspiration from Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson. It's harder, there's some social conscious songs, and it just has that feel. The ballads not so much, but I would say definitely the main like dance tracks, which there's a lot, sound like they could have been a progression from Rhythm Nation. Although they do have a Paula flavor, I would argue that. Promise of a New Day is a song about being positive and looking to the future. It has a lot of nature references to kind of give you this easy breezy type feel. And the video itself is filmed in like I think the Amazon, well, green screen, but Amazon, and just shows a lot of that beautiful nature and waterfalls and such. And they actually stretched her body in the video to make her appear slimmer. I think to make her look taller because she's rather short. And there was a lot of controversy on that too. The song went to number one. I love it. I think it's a bit long. Kind of like my reviews. I think it's a bit long. I think it could have been shorter because the verse is short, the chorus is super short, and then there's a bridge that's a little longer, but they kind of just repeat the whole Promise of a New Day thing. They don't repeat the bridge, which is really good. So it's kind of weird. Either way, 5 out of 5. I love it. It's a great song. Just it could be a little shorter. There are edits on the greatest hits and such, and the singles. So check those out. If you like the song but kind of think it's too long, they do exist, the shorter versions. Next song is Rock House, which this song kind of combines rock music, New Jack Swing, R&B, pop, and dance music. And I would say it's very socially conscious. It makes digs at the then current President Bush for giving money to wars and not the children, not the needy, and it's good. I like it. It's just, it's between Rush Rush and Promise of a New Day. So kind of, because of that, it would have to be the best song ever, and it's not. It does kind of fail based on the context of the album. But I do like it. I don't skip it, and it's a good song. She has some more strong vocals on the album, and Rock House definitely shows that, where she's really trying, and I think succeeds with her vocal enhancements. Natural vocal enhancements, not studio. The next song is Rush Rush, and speaking of vocals, I think this is probably her strongest vocal performance. It's a beautiful ballad that was a #1 single in 1991. The video had Keanu Reeves, who was still a smaller star. I mean, he was big, but still a smaller star at the time. Legendary video, and definitely a beautiful ballad. I'm not much into pop ballads, but this is just a lush, beautifully done ballad. It's very romantic, very soft, and because of Paula's vocal, she can't really belt too much, so it doesn't really have the same feel as a Mariah Carey or Celine Dion or Whitney Houston song. It's kind of its own thing. It kind of reminds me more of like a Janet Jackson ballad, where the vocals aren't the super important. It's more about the background beat, the melody, and their overall like pleasantness of their voice. Even though she does definitely try to hit some notes, and she does succeed. Great song, beautiful song. This next song is Spellbound, the title track of the album. This song, I think with this album she wanted to be a little experimental. Rock House also is a little experimental in the sound. Spellbound is weird. It's about basically a man driving you insane, controlling you, but like in a I guess out of lust way, where you think it's magic how drawn you are to this person, and it has a lot of samples and loops going on. It has almost alien sounds in the background. The all this when she did it on stage, she had almost like a Madonna S&M gear. It's a very different song, but I do love it. I think it's great. It's not the strongest on the album whatsoever, but it's a great song. Definitely, if you're looking for experimental Paula Abdul music, that's your song. The next song on this album, which is not on iTunes version, I mean it is on iTunes, but not in this order, is Vibeology, which, like I said, was her first single, not to kind of tear the charts up. And as a second album single, that's not a great thing. These days, that happens all the time, where you have a great success artist, and like Ariana Grande, she has songs that don't reach the top 40. She has songs that don't reach the top, 80. Or if they do, they don't last very long. But nobody questions her longevity because she has a career. Even early on, like they understand, like she has that career. With Paula, for her to have a single not hit top 10, especially after all the success, was kind of backtaking. Like I said, music was changing. Vibeology is another weird experimental song that mixes funk and dance and house. It mixes R&B, pop. It's a very strange song. There's vocal samples, there's chants, there's it's loud and brash. There's nothing really smooth, but there's also smooth about it. But it's not very smooth. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a great song. I love it, and it was performed as a lip sync For Your Life on RuPaul's Drag Race. I forgot what season. I think it might have been 7. But they also used Cold Hearted, which I thought was great. And I know they used some other songs. And she's been on the show, so that's super. Super. So anyways, yeah, Vibeology is actually one of my favorite songs and the name of my channel. Just in case you if you cared, Vibeology is a Paula Abdul song, and that's where I got my name of my YouTube channel and my email and everything else. So it's just, I love the word because I love music, and it's kind of like the study of music, but it's like Vibeology instead of like musicology, which I think, it's whatever. Either way, it's a great song, and she did a performance at the 1991 MTV Awards where she had a headset here and like a bodysuit and crystals, and it was just a lot of stuff. And she was just like a man, and then she took off that drag and she came out wearing what she was wearing. She was singing live, dancing, being thrown around the stage. It didn't go very well in terms of public opinion, and I think it kind of hurt her career overall. But I love it. I love it. Fuck it. I love it. The next song, like I said, this one is not next on the CD either, but the vinyl for some reason really changes the set list. Will You Marry Me, a song that she co-wrote and has harmonica by Stevie Wonder. It was a video and a single. It didn't chart very well. Top 40, yes, but it wasn't a major hit. I remember hearing it on the radio sometimes, but I never saw the video as a kid. This song is, I think, one of the worst on the album. It's very sappy. It's cute. I don't know. I think you'd have to, like, I mean, how do you say this? It's very sappy. It's cute and sappy, but a little bit, it kind of reminds me of Dear Jessie by Madonna. It's well done. There's nothing wrong about it. It's not annoying. It's a little not for me. It's a little Hallmarky. It's a little, yeah. Next song is a song that written, produced, and arranged by Prince, who goes by Paisley Park on the album. It's called You. He actually wrote it in 1979 during his self-titled album sessions and didn't use it for 10 plus years. And for some reason, he gave it to Paula Abdul. He also produced it and such. This is another experimental song, this is Paula Abdul. So, her first album is very clear-cut pop, dance pop, one ballad. This is her third experimental song in an album that's, geared towards the mainstream. So it's kind of weird. I mean, none of the songs on the album are pure house or really, like, extreme New Jack Swing. There's always a little bit of something in there that makes it different, which could either turn you off or really make you appreciate this record as it is. Anyway, You is very experimental and one of those songs that you either love or hate. It does have a little bit of a hook here and there, but it's I mean, Paula really goes for it on this album, and I think that song really shows how it could either be really misguided or really just spot on. And I do think it's spot on. I do like the song. I think it succeeds in what it wants to do. But it's a good song. I do like it. It's just, we're talking like four experimental songs on one LP. Next song is My Foolish Heart, which is actually one of my favorite songs on the album. It's extremely catchy, and I kind of feel it should have been the third single instead of Vibeology. But like I said, she took chances. She wanted to prove something. My Foolish Heart is very, like, I think it's the catchiest song on the album, and in terms of like dance pop, it's the best. I think it's the best. So it would be to me, my third favorite song on the overall album. But definitely amazing song. I love it. Definitely check that out if you have any interest. I would check that song out. It's really good. The next song I think is the best song on the album is Blowing Kisses in the Wind, which I had seen her perform this live about a year and a half ago, and it was so beautiful I cried. The song is beautiful. It has a harpsichord intro and is a very slow ballad. But again, it's not a Celine ballad. It's not a Whitney ballad. It's not a Mariah ballad. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's experimental because but there's a harpsichord in it, and it's very old-fashioned feeling at times. It's a beautiful song. It's extremely beautiful. Although I would argue it's a little bit out of Paula's range on the record. She did the song live in the 92 tour, Under My Spell. She did a great job. Hey, check it out on YouTube. It's an amazing job what she did live with it. But in the studio, she doesn't hit all the notes, and there's a little bit of flatness here and there. And I'm not the only one who thinks, like, I've seen other people who think that. I still love the song. It's actually my favorite. It's so beautiful. Play this on vinyl, like a calm night, just play that song on vinyl. So beautiful. It's so nice. Or like take your earpods and like go to the river or sunset. I don't know, something beautiful, and just experience it with that. It's a great experience. The next song is To You. Kind of reminds me of My Foolish Heart in terms of just the simplicity of it. Not as good, not as strong as Foolish Heart, but it's still a good song. I wouldn't ever skip it or say whatever about it. It is what it is, and I do like it. It's another song that's New Jack swing and a little bit more hard hitting, and I wouldn't say it's a filler. I'm glad it's there, but it's definitely it makes you appreciate My Foolish Heart more, if that makes sense. The next song after that is All Right Tonight. That one's okay. This is a very mixed album, I would say. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. It fascinates me. But All Right Tonight is not a great song. It's kind of a sing-along song. I don't know, it sounds like Hawaiian or Jamaican, almost like island life. It's like, I'm all right tonight. And it's okay. It's okay. I don't know. I think I would have cut All Right Tonight. I would have kept Will You Marry Me just because I think it's cute. All Right Tonight's kind of not, I don't know. So the last song on this album, which is not on the iTunes version, it's not on the CD, and this is not even in Japanese, this is Europe, is called Good Night, My Love, Pleasant Dreams, which was a bonus track in Japan. So if you know, in Japan, they always add bonus track, or most of the time will add a bonus track to try to incite people to buy the Japanese version, because usually there's a lot of pirating, and in order to get this version, you have to buy it. And they usually add some really, really good songs, especially Janet Jackson. She really just adds some amazing bonus tracks. This one is not an amazing bonus track for me. And it's weird because it's on the vinyl. I wish, whatever. But anyway, so they have Good Night, My Love, Pleasant Dreams. It's okay. I mean, you have to listen to it. I think you should listen to it just to kind of get what I'm saying. It's a ballad, but kind of. I don't even know how to explain it. It's not a song I grew up with, so I'm not really like super familiar with it. It's just a sweet little ballad. I mean, it's cute. I know fans like it, and good for them. Good for them. So overall, I think this is an amazing album, and definitely want to pick up. Again, Head Over Heels by Paula Abdul. I have the shirt, but I do not have the vinyl. It is on Amazon as used, so maybe one day. But I've actually always wanted it. But in terms of this album, definitely don't sleep on it. I would check it out if you like older pop music. This isn't the classic that Forever Your Girl is, and it isn't the underrated gem that Head Over Heels is. It did well. It's a little bit more forgotten than the other two, I would say. Just in terms of, because like I said, if you're a fan, you're going to look for things that were super popular or things that were just super, like forgotten. This one is neither nor, but it's a good album, and if you like Rhythm Nation, and if you like that New Jack Swing sound, you'll like it. And if you just like pretty ballads, there's some really beautiful ballads on it that aren't the typical sappy ballads. They're sweet, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure you could argue that Rush Rush is sappy and cheesy, but I think it's actually well done, and I'm quite critical of ballads overall. I'm not a big fan of them, and but I do love Paula, and I would. If Paula's ever going to watch this, please make a third album or at least release some new songs. I know you have a batch of unreleased songs because I've talked to her and she told me she does. I asked Paula when I met her, I said, Paula, could you tell me a little bit about your unreleased songs? And she said, well, they're unreleased. I think she might have forgotten what they were. But anyways, I'm hoping for a new album. I wasn't crazy about American Idol, especially since she didn't capitalize on the era to create a new album. Jennifer Lopez capitalized on American Idol to make a new album. Katy Perry capitalized. Mariah Carey capitalized. Paula Abdul did not, and she's the one who brought that whole thing in there. Like, I hate American Idol. I really do, except for her. And it was disappointing when I heard that she was going to make a new album, and then nothing materialized. So if you're out there, Paula, please make your fans, all of us, we're dying for a new album. And this is the back cover, which I love. I think it's really cool. Her background, her mirror reflection is really cool. The inner sleeve just has the lyrics. There's lots of thank yous. There are a lot of thank yous on this album. In fact, there's people thanking Paula. So, I mean, okay. And this is the vinyl, Captive. Pretty cool. Again, you can always see my my reflection of what's holding up my camera. But anyways, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you check out this album. I think it's great. Please let me know what you think of the video, what you think of the album if you've already heard it, and if you're inspired to listen to it, please tell me that you were, and subscribe and like the video if you'd like to, and please share. I don't know if people share videos like this because it's kind of long, but I hope that that you learn a little bit about Paula Abdul. I've always been a huge fan of hers, more than a lot of artists I grew up with. Like, there's a lot of artists I liked in the 90s, like when I was that young, that I didn't hold on to. And with Paula, she just really, something about her. I think it's just her loving heart, her sweet music. It's dancey. I love dance music. And just how well crafted it is. And I do like her voice. I do like her voice. I think it's unique and beautiful, and she's unique and beautiful, and I'm unique and beautiful.